Hey guys, it's Donald the Solo RPG Guide here today, and we're going to do another little solo RPG talk. This time we're going to focus on Ironsworn, tabletop RPG of Perilous Quest by Shawn Tomkins. Now, I got my Facebook group, and people were asking questions about Ironsworn, and that was probably the reason why I'm making this video. I'm going to give you 3 good reasons why you should be looking at Ironsworn if you're into solo RPGing. The first reason is, well, it's a complete solo RPG book. From beginning to end, this is all you really need to start. The closest thing to an RPG that can be played solo, straight out of the book, other than Ironsworn, the only one that comes to mind is Scarlet Heroes. But the second reason why you should be getting into Ironsworn is, well, it's free. You can go to DriveThruRPG and get the PDF for free. And if you are a dead tree guy like me, you can get the books in either softback or hardback at a reasonable cost. And I know in these times right now we're all in, some people don't have any money to spare, and you're cooped up in your house anyway, so just go to DriveThruRPG and get yourself the book for free, and then test drive it out. And the third reason why I highly recommend Ironsworn is because, okay, you've tried it out, you've done your best, and you don't like the game, you'd rather play your D&D or your Dungeon World or your Savage Worlds or insert favorite RPG here. Well, just go ahead and to the Oracles and Ironsworn, print them out, and you have yourself a free GM emulator. You won't have to spend money on Mythic, the book, the cards. You don't have to worry about spending money on these things or anything else. You'll have your RPG of choice, and you'll have your GM emulator all in one, and it didn't cost you a dime. Now, the next thing I want to talk about, if you really do like Ironsworn, I also will recommend that you get yourself the Delve book. The Delve book here is perilous expeditions into basically what I would call the underground or indoor settings. I forget what it calls this. This book refers to them as perilous sites. One of the best things about Delve is it breaks your area locations into themes and domains. And that will also help you spark your memory and imagination and whatnot. I find myself using those cards in a lot of my other RPGs. For example, if you're in my Facebook group, you saw a few posts in regards to Symbaroum. What I had done with Symbaroum, that setting is you're primarily exploring an old ancient forest. Well, to me, that sounded like a wild Tanglewood. I then looked at the game mechanics of Symbaroum and broke it down. I believe the bushcraft skill is what it refers to as the basically the equivalent of a navigation check or survival check, and I used that. The moves Delve the Depths from the Delve book, and just turned the mechanics over to Symbaroum. Where in Symbaroum, if I made a hit, it was a weak hit. If I succeeded, it was a weak hit. If I failed, it was a miss, and if I got a crit, I treated it as a strong hit. And then from there, it told me I can either mark progress, find an opportunity, or reveal a danger. And I use that to help spark my imagination in investigating the Symbaroum forest. And it worked out pretty well. That is until my characters died. But hey, that's a different story altogether. So you can take the oracles and the domain cards and whatnot and apply them to other games. If you watch RPG Tips solo play, I believe in his 8th episode, he skinned Ironsworn over Worlds Without Number, I think was the name of the game he was playing. So as far as I'm concerned, Ironsworn is probably one of the best RPGs out there for all the reasons I've listed before. Plus, like I said, if you're new to soloing or just new to RPGs in general, Delve would be a good place to start, period. Just go to the drive-thru, get you the base book for free, and try it out. Okay, next thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to answer your questions here, Jonathan Rector, and hope I can help you. Let's see, for Ironsworn, is there like a noob starter guide to play? He's been spending the day reading the manuals, and man, oh man, how can I remember all these moves I can make? Is there an easier way than flipping and rereading everything over and over? Like, does a simpler starter quest or something exist so I can sink my teeth into that with limited moves or something? Well, I'll go ahead and answer your question my way, and hopefully it'll help. When I first played Ironsworn, I saw all the moves, and it was kind of overwhelming at first. I can understand that. And then I realized it was a lot like Dungeon World. And the first thing I did was I grabbed my Forbidden Lands map, pointed at a village, pointed at a dungeon, and said, if I want to go from here to here, what do I got to do? And that was basically the Undertaker journey. So I started messing with the Undertaker journey. Then I said, well, what happens if I get into combat? And I played a combat scenario to see how that worked out. And I can tell you I made a bunch of mistakes, because every time I took hit point damage or health damage or whatever they call it in the Ironsworn, I forgot to do the endure harm move, like for the first 4 or 5 times. I'm like, oh, well, I figured it out. I'll add it to it. And I just slowly kept playing the game and then realizing, oh, here's where this move comes in. And here's where this move comes in. Face danger is basically the equivalent of a D&D skill check or a make a saving throw. If I had to make a skill check or make a saving throw, boom, face danger move. Plus, the book does tell you in a lot of times, when this happens, do this. Let's see if I can find a good example here. Find an opportunity. When you encounter a helpful situation or feature within a site, roll on this table. Delve the depths. When you traverse an area within a perilous site, envision the surroundings, then consider your approach. So just kind of put all those little things in your head that when such and such happens, I need to make this type of move. And just keep practicing and practicing. As far as a starter quest, there isn't necessarily a starter quest. But if you look in the Ironsworn book, starting on page 193 and start reading the little gray box area there, they'll go through the process of creating a character and starting a campaign. If you are a visual kind of person, I'm going to recommend 2 YouTube channels to you. First one, everyone knows, I'm going to say it, me, myself, and Die. Trevor Devall is a very good voice actor. He puts together a very entertaining story. And he goes through and he plays the game and shows you how it's done. In fact, I think it's episode 3 and his opening little snippet, he even tells you he made a mistake. It happens. You're going to make mistakes. That's fine. Learn from your mistake and move on. That's the best way to learn how to do these things. Another channel I'm going to recommend is Fifth Ace Comics. He's not a professional. He's got a small YouTube channel. 150, 200 subscribers, and he does a lot of comic drawing, but he also has an Ironsworn campaign, and he's just a regular guy. He's just like you and me. You're going to see him make a few mistakes. He's going to tell you he made a few mistakes, and he corrects the mistakes, and he moves on, and he puts together a fairly decent story. And that's pretty much, we're not Trevor Devall. We don't sit there and do the voice acting. We're not professionals, and we don't understand pacing and all the other good stuff that, him in the movie business and entertainment business understands. We're just a bunch of regular Joe Blows hanging around just trying to play a game and entertain ourselves. Well, Fifth Ace Comics demonstrates that pretty well. Regular guy just sitting there playing game, and he has a good time doing it. So I do recommend you check out his channel. And of course, my phone decided it wants to turn off. Let's see. What was your next question? So I noticed in the book we don't talk about combat like D&D. This leads me to wonder, is this entirely game theater of the mind, or do you still play with minis somehow? Traveling, it is just some rolls on some tables, or did I miss something? For Ironsworn, yeah, Ironsworn is primarily theater of the mind. If you use minis, it's more like an abstract thing if you just want to keep track of where people are. But there is no, I move 5 squares, or my bow can shoot so many squares. None of that's there. It's all up to you. It's your story. Traveling, yeah, is usually just rolling on some tables and then figuring out what happens as a result of those tables. Again, watch Trevor Devall's channel, or go look at Fifth Ace Comics and see how he does it, and hopefully that will help. Next question is, I keep seeing this game come up with generally amazing reviews. Can you explain why? I went through the rule book and it seems very complicated. I didn't see it that everyone's talking about, but I'm very curious. Well, I'll tell you why it's generally amazing. The first 3 reasons I said before. It's free. It's a complete game. And in the end, if you don't like the game, you got a free GM emulator. So that's why everyone's raving about Ironsworn. Ironsworn, like I said, can be adapted to other games, like I did with some Barroom. I did a similar thing with another game called Dungeons and Delvers. I'm looking at another setting that's on my hit list on Drive-Thru-RPG that I'm probably going to use as my primary setting for Ironsworn when I make the videos of me playing it. Assuming I'm going to have to first get the setting book and read it and make sure I understand it. If not, I'll make up my own. There's also some other good third-party assets out there. Tomorrow I'm expecting a delivery from the post office with the not the original asset cards, but another set of asset cards that let you bring mythical races into there, like dwarves, elves, halflings, elementals, things like that I might incorporate into my game. So I hope this video helps somebody out. Hope it helped you out, Jonathan. I'm sure I have other things I can say about the game, but right now my mind is drawing a blank. I'm sure I'll just add it on to a future video. And until then, y'all have fun and happy gaming.